Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and shit, I forgot to show this. Nice guy named Tony had sent this to me, and he wanted me to review it. Um, I Know What You Did Last Summer. More laughs and chills than streams, says Gene Wolfe's Hollywood. I disagree with that, but right off the bat, I'm going to say this is an alright movie. I actually had this on DVD. It's a 2-pack with this and the sequel, which I'll get to the sequel in the next video. But I had that 2-pack because I remember not minding this film. It's okay, but it's not. I know this is getting remade. Yes, this is getting remade. Apparently on IMDb, Brett Eisner or someone's directing it. And it has a 2016 release date. I'm like, this is getting a remake? This fucking movie's getting a remake? This was 1997. And it's already getting a remake? Maybe it's bullshit. Well, I would not be surprised. That's what's sad. I guess Stream would have been remade if they didn't get a fucking TV show. We could get a TV show of this, so we'll remake it. This needs a fucking remake? What more can you do with it? But apparently, yeah, it's getting a remake. For some fucking reason. It's not like I'm that pissed because I'm the biggest fan of this movie. Yeah, I think the movie's okay, but I'm like, what's it getting pointless? And I know there's a sequel. I still know what he did last summer, and then this I'll always know what he did last summer, which is straight to video bullshit, which I'll get to as well. But I had the DVD as a 2-pack. Had to have the sequel because it came with the pack. But the first film I liked okay, and the DVD I have actually has features. This doesn't have features, but the DVD I have actually has a couple features on I Know What He Did Last Summer. So I'll probably keep that DVD because it has features, and this is bare bones. But it was still a nice gesture from Tony. I guess he wanted my thoughts on this film. It's directed by Jim Gillespie, which I don't think he's much of a director, to be honest. He directed a Stallone film, which I do enjoy, called Detox, aka ICU. I like that film because I like the location, I love the score, I love the Stallone's performance. I think it's one of his most underrated performances of all time. I'm a big Stallone fan. I can watch for his performance, and oh cool, he got to be in a... That and Cobra are the closest he'll ever get to a horror movie, to be honest. That movie, Cobra, and ICU, aka Detox, are the closest he's going to get to a horror movie. And it was nice to see my favorite guy in that realm. And I'd probably say I put that over this. I mean, Stallone's performance alone, to me, knocks this film out of the park. You know, Stallone's knocks this fucking movie out. But again, I'm not trashing the movie. I think the movie's okay. It came out because the stream was a success. I could definitely say I like this more than Valentine, which I fucking hated. I'd probably say I like Urban Legend a bit more, because I like the whole urban legend motif they threw in there. And I got into urban legends a bit more than this, but I mean the story's fairly simple. You have four people. These four people: Jennifer Love Hewitt, who I think is a decent actress. I'll definitely take her over Rooney Mara and Megan Fox and who's the other girl? Kristen Stewart. I'll take Jennifer Love Hewitt over them. I don't think she's great. I think she's decent. Ron Phillippe, to be honest, this is the only film I thought he was good in. He was playing a jock asshole, and I don't know, maybe that's more of his style and acting, but I thought he was actually a pretty decent... He's playing the jock asshole, but he played it well. Maybe a little too well. But to be honest, Ryan Phillippe, this is the only acting I cared for performance-wise from Ryan Phillippe. The only film I can think of that I thought Ryan Phillippe did a good job in. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she was alright. This and Stream 2, she was pretty much a victim. She's homecoming queen, gal. I don't know, when did Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show come out? I forget what year. I don't know if this was before or after Buffy. And then Freddie Prinze Jr., which He's not a talented actor. I actually think he does pretty decent in the second film. In fact, that's one of the only things I like in the second film is Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr., I thought he did good in the second film. Does he play more of a tougher guy? And some people say, well, that's laughable, but this is Freddie Prinze Jr. much like Wing Commander Freddie Prinze Jr., which to me is him trying to be Keanu Reeves. And there's one Keanu Reeves, and I like Keanu Reeves, but Freddie Prinze Jr., he's probably the weakest of the four. But if I compare him to, say, the acting I'll always know we did last summer, Freddie Prinze Jr. is a master thespian. Or thespian. A thespione. It's around 4th of July. Sarah Michelle Gellar was crowned homecoming queen. They're having fun. They're telling stories. They're wondering what they're going to do with their future. They're driving home. Ryan Phillippe is being a jerk-off, spills his beer on Freddie Prinze Jr., who's driving. He got the beer on him, gets distracted, they hit someone with their car. They're wondering what to do. They figure, well, if we go to the cops, they're dead meat. So they decide to put the body, discard it. The body comes alive, and then they still throw him into the water, thinking, and oh my god, what did we just kill him? Saying they're going to keep this secret to their graves. Jennifer Love Hewitt doesn't want to do it. Freddie Prinze Jr., he does it, but then he's kind of hesitant on it. For Ryan Phillippe and Sarah Michelle Gellar are more... They're not... Sarah Michelle Gellar isn't bitchy. She's not... She's just scared, and this is the only thing she did think they have to do. And Ryan Phillippe, again, he's the jock asshole. But he played it well. You also have Johnny Galecki, who I remember from the TV show Roseanne. I think his big thing now is The Big Bang Theory. As this guy who I really feel sorry for, which I'll get to why. And you also have Bridgette Wilson, who was in Billy Madison. She was in Mortal Kombat, in a really thankless role as, I think, Sarah Michelle Gellar's sister. Some woman that works at this store that Sarah Michelle Gellar ends up working at. You also have an appearance by Anne Heche, who plays a pretty weird character. But for the little role, I thought Anne Heche actually did a pretty decent job. Of course, the big thing, screenplay by Kevin Williamson. I think this is based on a novel, which I know I could be wrong, but I think this is based on a novel, and the person who wrote it really hated this because the novel was not a slasher film. In fact, I don't think any of the characters died in the novel. It was more of a, I guess, a murder mystery or something like that. And she, I don't know, I can't say she, I don't know who wrote the novel, if this is based on a novel, but I remember reading somewhere that she was pissed off because this was turned into a slasher film. And I think someone in the person's family had been murdered. So the fact that they took her novel and turned this into a slasher movie, she felt kind of offended by it. Which I can understand, but it's Kevin Williamson. And of course he did this because of the success of Scream. I remember the advertising, they kept saying it's from the creators of Scream. And I'm like, well, you can't really say that because Wes Craven has nothing to do with it. And that company, I think that company sued and said, you can't say from the creators of Scream. I mean, yeah, Kevin Williamson, but it's not the studio. It's not Wes Craven. As Wes Craven is a better director than Jim Gillespie. You probably can't tell it lately, but Wes Craven's made a lot more good movies than Jim Gillespie. But I know I seem like I'm trashing it. You know, these four, they're decent. Freddie Prinze Jr. is the weakest of the four. And it's not a body count movie. You're not going to have 10, 20, 30 dead bodies. It's more of a mystery, them trying to figure out. They get stalked by one by one because it's a year later. Their lives haven't turned out exactly what they wanted. Pretty much each couple, see, these two and these two were a couple, and each couple pretty much broke up. Freddie Prinze Jr. is working at a job as a fisherman. Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was a homecoming queen. She was going to go off to New York. Things didn't work out. She's working at the shop in town. Freddie Prinze Jr. pretty much has a rich family, so he's just living off of them. It's a year later. They get notes. I know what he did last summer. They get stalked one by one. Strange things happen. Ryan Phillippe gets chased and hit with a car. Sarah Michelle Gellar gets her hair cut. One scene that I thought was really stupid is Jennifer Love Hewitt, her character, she opens up her trunk and there's a dead body with a bunch of crabs. It literally takes her probably 5 minutes. It could not have been more than 5 minutes to get her friends, and they go back to the trunk of the car, and the trunk of the car looks perfect. I'm thinking, there was a dead body and looked like 30, 40 crabs, like decent sized crabs, as well as other shit in there. And then when they come back, they looked at the trunk. Not only is the body and the crabs gone, it looked like the motherfucker killer vacuumed and cleaned it up with spick and span. And this amount of time, in broad daylight, in a neighborhood where there's like house. And I know it's a slasher film, folks, but the fact is, I do put it on a little bit of a pedestal when it's written by Kevin Williamson, who's supposed to be this fantastic writer, and I like Scream. But what kind of shit is stupid stuff like that? This is a guy that's talking about Scream and the rules and stupid people doing stupid stuff. And then you write a script that has stupid stuff like that. Come on now. But I remember the first time being interested in the fact these kids were being stalked one by one, and they can't go to the police because if they do, then they would have to admit what they did last summer. So that, pun intended, that hook with the characters made it a little bit more interesting. And again, I thought these four, even though Freddie Prinze Jr. is the weakest of the cast, I could deal with these four. Unlike, say, Valentine, which I hated that movie, hated the characters in that movie, except maybe David Boreanaz. Probably said his name wrong, but I could deal with these four. I think that's what kept me going. It's not a gore fest. Johnny Galecki, I said I felt sorry for him because he's trying to be friends with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Ryan Phillippe fucks with him. When the night happens, they accidentally hit someone. Johnny Galecki comes by and offers help. They say they want him, of course, him to leave, so they tell him to go. It's a year later. The guy's working, and they think that he's doing it, or at least Ryan Phillippe does. So Ryan Phillippe threatens him and hits him. And then the poor guy, he's the first to die, and he gets the most graphic death. This is how it's an R-rated film. This is how graphic it is, which is not much. But he gets a hook underneath his chin and dragged. I'm like, this guy never caught a break. He could not be friends with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Not because of her, because of Ryan Phillippe. And then Ryan Phillippe fucks with him, threatens him, and hits him. And then he gets killed. Like, Johnny Galecki just felt sorry for him because he just had shit luck. He had the worst luck. Let's see. Ryan Phillippe dies because Sarah Michelle Gellar's doing her sort of homecoming thing because it's a year later. And he dies. He's like in the rafters watching, and the killer pretty much grabs him and kills him off screen. You have a long stalk sequence with Sarah Michelle Gellar where she gets chased from A to B. A cop, she gets in the police car of a cop. Cop stupidly, oh, what's going on? And then gets hooked in the stomach, which isn't that bloody. She chases to the, what was it, the store she works at, and Bridgette Wilson lets her in. She gets killed, pretty much a strike, and she just throws her head back and spits some blood on the window. She runs off. She's about ready to go, She's about ready. She sees it right there, and then for some reason she stops, even though she's, I don't know, 5 feet away, 10 feet away. For some reason she just stops and just turns around. Then turns around again. There's a guy, and kills her. I mean, kind of off screen. I mean, not really, but you just see them struggling, and you know she's dead. And again, I'm kind of harping on the screenplay because I'm thinking, this is a guy that, in Scream, you kind of understood. People go, well, the teleportation thing. Well, there's 2 killers. Like, that was an interesting idea. That was an idea I didn't see much. There was 2 killers wearing the same costume. I mean, this guy wrote a pretty damn good script for Scream, and granted, he's the only guy on the screenplay, but I'm thinking, did anyone else write into this? I just think it is a stupid screenplay at times. But again, the cast is alright, and the central idea, the guilt a year later, getting those I know we did last summer, and not being able to go to the cops because of that is an interesting. This is a decent setup, which I guess is why they're remaking it. Before a lot of that happens, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar are looking into, well, what happened? Who is this person that they killed? And they think it's one person. They go to Heche, who's sort of a weird type of character. She's almost the most interesting character in the movie, to be honest. And I don't mind Heche as an actress. I liked her in Volcano and 6 Days, 7 Nights. I don't mind her. Yeah, the Psycho remake sucked, but it sucked for a lot of reasons. I pretty much the ending is there for like a minute or two. Jennifer Love Hewitt thinks Freddie Prinze Jr. is the killer. She runs off, and she gets one thing Lisa know led to this boat where the real killer, I think the actor's name is Muse Watson, and he's just, you find out a little bit why he's doing this. And I don't know, the ending was kind of there, kind of lame. Freddie Prinze Jr. Fouls, gets on the boat. Freddie Prinze Jr. actually beats the bad guy up quite a bit. He gets the upper hand quite a bit, which I thought was interesting. It's interesting with the finale of this, usually the female is the one kicking the villain's ass, doing X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, D through G. But really, Jennifer Love Hewitt is such a useless character that she actually becomes a hindrance. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. is actually doing pretty decent, punching the shit out of this guy. And then she pops her head up like a fucking jack in the box and go, "Hey, Ray!" I think that's his character's name. And of course, Freddie Prinze is like, "What?" And then the killer throws his ass off the boat. And then pops her head down like a jack in the box. I'm like, this fucking stupid bitch just made me hate this character, why don't you? And then she doesn't do anything to the killer. She can't fight. I mean, Nev Campbell was a strong character, especially in the first stream. But Jennifer Love Hewitt can't do shit. She's just screaming, I can't do anything. And even at the end, she doesn't beat the killer. The killer stupidly doesn't know his surrounding, even though he's a fisherman. You think he knows his boat a bit more. He tries with the hook, and oops, shit, there's ropes here. And Freddie Prinze Jr., who got back on the boat, hits the thing, so he rises up and then gets his hand cut off. Then goes upside down and then falls in the water. And I'm like, that's a lame thing to do to a killer. I mean, his hand got cut off, okay? That doesn't mean he's dead. Especially for anyone who's watching this, you probably see a lot of slasher films, the fact that, he got his hand cut off. That doesn't mean he's dead. Okay, he fell in the water. He fell in the water. You put his ass in the water at the beginning of the movie, and he lived. You hit him with a car and put his ass in the water at the beginning of the movie, but because you cut off his hand, you think he's dead? That's why I thought it was pretty lame. And then It's cool that the guy got to do something, because usually the boyfriend character doesn't do anything. It's cool that the guy got to do something. I give props to that. But you didn't have to make the Jennifer Love Hewitt character completely, utterly pointless, and then stupidly, hey, let me distract you. Hey, let me call your name. Huh? Oh shit! I distracted you while the killer hit you and you fell in the water. So, and then it ends with a shock ending where was it a year or such later, and she's at college and goes into a shower and says, "I still know," and the killer pops up. It's a shock ending, which then, if you watch the sequel, I guess was a dream. You're led to assume. I I'm acting like it's ho hum, and in a way, that's what I think. I think it's an okay film because the initial idea I don't mind. I don't mind the music. I thought the score had some decent points to it. I don't mind the song "Hush, Hush, Hush." Do 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 do. Na 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 na, which was in the trailer to the film. I remember that. I actually don't mind that music. I forgot Neil H. Moritz produced this. If you look up his name, Neil H. Moritz has been with a lot of different films. And it's funny, I looked at it on this Blu-ray. They spell his name wrong because it says a Neil H. Moritz movie, but when they put that, there's no T. But then when they say produced by Neil H. Moritz, the T's on that one. So on one part of the name, they misspell it. I don't know if there was that way in the credits or just this Blu-ray manufacturer. To sum it up, the kills, other than a hook under the chin, the kills are really nothing. Really, really tame for a slasher film. In fact, I think if you did a couple tweaks, you could easily give this a PG-13. I don't remember too many cuss words, but it wasn't that plentiful. If I can't barely remember any, you have you don't have titties or nudity. Again, the blood, other than the chin thing, you could cut a couple things. Hell, fucking Temple of Doom is bloodier than this movie. They had a fucking heart being ripped out. Like a couple trims, this could have easily been PG-13. And because Jim Gillespie's not a guy for blood, that was one of my problems with ICU. Should have been a bloodier movie, but you look at this film, yeah, it's from the same director of this. I don't know why the fuck they said get the director of this to direct a pretty decent sized budget film with Stallone and Chris Christopherson and not Lance Emerson, Robert Patrick, but McCoy Lance Emerson's in there as well. But you get the guy who did this to do that. But I don't mind the cast for the most part. It's a time waster for me. The fisherman outfit, it's all right. It's an all right outfit. Like, considering what kind of location they're at, it makes sense. You know, there's fishermen all around. Setup is decent, but some really stupid stuff in the screenplay. Kind of a weak ass, weak sauce ending. Jennifer Love Hewitt just being a what do I do? What do I do? At the end of the film, being really useless. If you watch the ending in the end, Jennifer Love Hewitt is completely fucking useless in that sequence. Completely and utterly useless. And this is your lead. It, I don't know why it's getting remade. All you could do with it, they did with this movie. I mean, well, what if they make it bloodier? I don't know if it'll make that much difference. It's a time waster for me. That's all I can say. I mean, I've been talking for 24 minutes. It's a time waster. That's the best way I could put it. I do think Scream, like if you compare it to Scream I thought was better written. I thought, even though I think this cast is decent, I would say I prefer the cast to Scream. Neve Campbell is definitely a stronger character in those movies than Jennifer Love Hewitt. Definitely a bloodier movie. I mean, hell, Drew Barrymore, guts falling out when she's hung from the tree. I mean, you don't see it too long, but you get enough of it. I mean, even her boyfriend cut with guts falling out. That alone is bloodier than this entire movie. I'm not saying that's what that alone would have made me think this is fantastic. It just started going along. Okay, they're going with the mystery and trying to figure out who it is that they killed and who's leaving the notes. And it's one of those things when you know the mystery, you just okay, you're just waiting for get to the next set piece or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I mean, more laughs. I don't know where the laughs and chills come from. Gene Wolfe. What laughs? I don't remember it being that funny, and it wasn't scary either. It's an okay movie. I said it 3 times, 4 times, 7 times, 11 times, whatever. But anyway, I know we did last summer. I think it's an alright film. It's alright. It's a time waster. I don't, doesn't make me mad that much, and definitely say I prefer it to over films like Valentine. Like he mentioned that too. That's like the worst of that bunch. I like it more than the Prom Night remake and When a Stranger Calls remake and a lot of other stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned for the sequel. I still know what you did last summer, even though technically it'd be 2 summers ago, but they couldn't do that because the title would be too fucking long. But see you later.